to come on. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another edition of the Praise Fest Show, brought to you live right here on 1340 WICB AM and on the web at myspiritdc.com. I am your host, yours truly, Jolie Sanders, and we in for another good show today. Listen, we in for an educational show today, okay? Because you know we often say to you, we're not only here to entertain, but we're here also to educate you. And so we're here today to educate you. First, we want to talk about education in the real estate field, and we have a qualified person here today to talk with you about that, and that's none other than the person by the name of Rhonda Hayes, which is a real estate professional. She's also been in this market for quite some time, and she's going to give you a little bit of history about her, but she's here today to talk to you about it. She's the principal broker also with Carrington over in Largo, Maryland. So she's here to talk to you today a little bit about a few things, issues on real estate, because, you know, quite a few people think that they know how to go after this. But trust me, there is a reason why they have professionals in the marketplace. All right? So understand, even when you think you don't need one, trust me, there's so many different things you need to know, and having a real estate professional is one that will guide you from the beginning to the end. So today we want to welcome to our show none other than Rhonda Hayes, and we're going to welcome you to the Praise Fest Show. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Well, certainly we want to bring you on today. We know this is the time of year when things in the real estate market begin to start popping off, and we wanted to have a few tips from you today.
Sure.
When it comes into the selling market. So we want you to kind of introduce yourself and kind of just give us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me. So I'm a real estate agent. Actually, I'm the broker. And I've been in the business for 15 years, specializing in residential sales and property management. I started out working for a local mom and pop. Learned the business, the ins and outs of the business, hands-on, while being a personal assistant. Over the years, I worked for other various brokerages. And now, today, I am the managing broker for Maryland and the DC principal broker at Carrington Real Estate Services in Largo, Maryland. And I'm sharing a lot of my skill sets with a talented team. And so, yes, thanks for having me today. And I'm here to actually talk to sellers directly because I'm sending out an SOS, sellers. It is a seller's market, and the real estate community can use some inventory. So that's why I'm here today, to shed some light on that, a little bit about the housing market, and talk a little bit later on about my guide on selling inherited homes.
I guess one of the main questions that's in the back of most people's mind is, how is the market? They hear seller's market, they hear buyer's market. How is the market for what you're trying to do?
So the market is great. It's really hot, it's moving fast, especially if you are a seller. However, we are seeing some advantages for buyers and some price points. But yes, it's definitely a seller's market. So I just want to say, if you're in the DC area, if you're thinking of selling a home or thinking of downsizing or moving up, may have a financial hardship, now is the perfect time to sell. If you've been on the fence about it, in limbo, just get off of the fence. We can really use some of your inventory. It will be advantageous to you if you were to sell in today's market. So that's where we are. If you don't mind, I would like to share a little bit of housing stats right now for the first quarter of April. In the DC metro area, the average sales price, $450,000. That is the average sales price. That's up 3% from a year ago. The average days on the market, you guys, 9 days.
Wow.
9. And, you know, sellers are getting, 99% of sellers are getting their asking price or over. So that's a little bit of information to shed some light on how robust the market is today.
That now is this market is just a reflection of what's going on in actual DC or Maryland or Virginia? Which one is it?
Oh, great question. So Actually, it's a seller's market nationally. There's low inventory everywhere. But when in terms of DC versus Maryland, DC, you can be in pretty much any price point, honestly, and your house is pretty much going to sell pretty rapidly. And also some parts of Maryland as well. However, again, in some areas of Maryland, it depends on the price point. Once you get at that, 400 and above price point, you get a little more advantages as a buyer in Maryland.
Now, I want to know what's worth repairing repairing for selling. I mean, is it worth repairing the home if it's a home that's kind of like outdated or whatever, kind of got obsolete fixtures and stuff in it? What is it worth repairing or fixing up?
Well, that's a great question, and I never suggest for sellers to throw massive upgrades into their home, especially assuming that it's going to increase the value, because a lot of times that's not the case. But sometimes it's just a little cleaning, decluttering, proper staging to help increase the appearance will help drastically. You'll be surprised. But if you insist on replacing some items, I would suggest starting with, yes, definitely replacing outdated appliances if they're within your budget. And if they're not, there's ways we can negotiate that in a sale as well. Flooring is a hot item. Hardwood floors, of course, is very popular. If you can't afford hardwood floors as a replacement, maybe alternatives that will help manage to provide better health benefits to a buyer over carpet. And most importantly, you can always obtain a homeowner's warranty. This is highly recommended even when you're listing your home, because it kind of gives a buyer some reassurance that, you're taking care of the place, but you're also going to pass over a warranty to them, even if your appliances are a little outdated. And just by the way, that's actually an incentive that we offer to our sellers, a free homeowner's warranty too. So,
what is the best approach should a person take when they're trying to downsize or moving up into the home?
Oh, yeah. So that's another good question. So when you are selling a home and you want to unload that property and sort of roll any proceeds into a down payment to another home, whether it's moving up or downsizing, I always recommend starting with your exit strategy first. Okay, because as I mentioned, it's a very robust market. The moment you put your home on the market, it's going to sell, right? So you want to kind of have your game plan of moving already underway. And we know the loan process can be a little stringent, so we recommend starting there. Meet with the lender. Don't just get pre-qualified. You want to actually apply, go full out, provide your documentation so you can have an accurate approval before putting your home on the market. And then I can also say, we have loan affiliates. Our actual loan affiliate, Carrington Mortgage Services, offers some unconventional loan products that can kind of help you save some money on down payment so you can put some of that towards your moving expenses. So the best approach I always suggest to any seller, start with your exit strategy first.
And I wanted to just insert this in. What is the qualifying score now a person can do to apply for a home?
That's a great question. We have loan products. Scores go down as low as 500 right now. So I just want to put that out there. Don't assume if you have some credit challenges that you will not apply. You won't know until you sit down with a loan professional. And by the way, that is a free consultation as well to kind of see where you stand and what your purchasing power is. So yeah, we have some loan products, FHA actually, starting from 500 credit scores.
FHA.
Yes.
Okay. All right now. Let's talk a little bit about your selling guide for your inherited homes.
Yes. So in my experience, I find we run into a lot of people in our communities who are, taking care of loved ones. They may even be their caretakers. And so we get a lot of questions as to what to do during the unfortunate circumstances of losing a loved one or a relative. And what should someone do about the property. We also get a lot of misconceptions in terms of ownership, who has the right to sell, which family member can do what. So I got with a group of writers to kind of help me put together a guide. Because I want to kind of say this. It's not uncommon for people with inherited properties to allow the sentimental value of the home to cloud the judgment as to when to sell.
Right.
So the book kind of covers that too, you know. And then, as I mentioned, it's a strong seller's market. We find that people, you know, they hold on to the property because of the sentimental value. And a lot of times there's a lot of expenses. Even if you own a home free and clear, you still have to keep up the taxes, the utilities, the maintenance, the upkeep. Not to mention, you know, if you were taking care of the relative, some health care expenses you were already, you know, underwater. So we kind of just want to put that out there to some people. Don't let the sentimental value put you in more financial hardships.
Okay.
There's ways to get through this. And a lot of times I know with the probate process, sometimes that's confusing and people just don't know where to begin.
Right.
So that's the point of the book. I just want to point out some of the highlights of what's covered in it.
Sure.
It's going to include some best practices for families, you know, how to deal with those other family members. I know that is very much a challenge. Holdovers,
Absolutely.
living in the state. You know, most of the times there may be other siblings or another family member currently residing in the property. You know, so what do you do? How do you sort of work out a way to, you know, transition them out as you try to sell? And then, you know, splitting up the items inside, what to do, how to host maybe a personal estate sale, and also the selling process for inherited homes, how to verify the title status, probate courts and creditors. Most people aren't aware that if there are outstanding debts incurred on the property, the debt collectors can claim what's owed from the estate. So the book kind of puts a lot of these things in perspective. All the way from personal feelings to just the stages of the probate. You know, at what point should you actually get ready to list, and at what point should you reach out to a probate attorney? At what point should you reach out to me, a real estate professional? So the book kind of covers all of that.
Okay. Why go through all of this? Why not just get an investor and just sell the home to the investor? Get it over with. Get it off my hand. I don't want to be dealing with this. Why not just go through an investor and just be done with it?
Yeah, I can see that being more beneficial, you know, especially if you're already dealing with the family members and then the probate courts and going back and forth, appealing things. I can see after getting through that hill, now dealing with the marketing process and listing the home. The best answer to that is, here's why. We, the real estate professionals, are your advocate, right? So when we work for you, we're going to have several investors bidding on your home, in addition to maybe even some potential home owners, you know? So you're going to have vast marketing, so you can have several bids, right? I recently had a property we sold. You know, the homeowner hired us because she had a investor neighbor pretty much harassing her. And she thought about selling directly to him until she reached out to us, and she discovered that, you know, once we sold the property, her net proceeds in the sale was a whole lot more than what she actually would have gotten in just his one offer. So not only that, will we make sure we get you top dollar for your property, but we're actually going to facilitate that transaction through closing. You know, there's a lot of things to deal with, lots of paperwork, coordination of home inspectors, appraisals, things of that nature, dealing with the probate attorney. These are things that we're going to assist you in addition to finding you multiple offers in this market. So that is the benefit of using the real estate professional versus just dealing with one of those guys that buy your house all cash.
So there's a reason for reaching out to a real estate professional.
Absolutely.
So they've got more benefits that they can imagine.
Absolutely, and it won't hurt. There's no obligation.
Right.
Again, we offer free consultations. We're here to help.
Mhm.
You know, that's what we're here for in the community, and yeah.
You mentioned expertise in property management. Do you have any tips for landlord dealing with problem solving with tenants?
Yes, I do. I would just say in general, when it comes to landlords, the first tip I would say is, you know, you want to have at least 3 months of a mortgage cushion, right? Because even if, say, you know, your tenant has a stellar application, things happen, you know, that tenant can lose their job abruptly, or they can kind of pan out to not be as great of a tenant that they were on paper. So, you know, you want to have a few months already in the cushion, because, you know, a court date can sometimes take you almost a month and a half just to be seen in front of a judge. And the banks definitely want their mortgage money, even if you already have a lease. That's sort of separate from your banks. So that's the tip I would say. Always, you know, at least have 3 months, especially if you're just renting out a house itself. Now, if you have multi-units, that's a little different. Secondly, I would advise insurance. Do not assume that your housing insurance or whatever property insurance you have obtained when you got the home is sufficient to cover you as a landlord. That's a different type of set of insurance. That's something that I kind of find with most landlords they sort of miss. And in regards to getting back to the landlord-tenant court process, you want to make sure you have a rental license. You will not be able to even get a court date, even if your tenant has not paid you in a year,
So you're saying
unless you
that
have
just
rental
because
license.
I have a house, that don't mean I just get some other room. I got to have the license to do that.
You have to have a license.
Okay.
And depending on the jurisdiction, you know, it will have different requirements. I could tell you, for instance, in Prince George's County, you have to, if you're in an HOA or a condo association, you have to provide a letter of good standing when you apply for your rental license. So you have to show that you've been paying your HOA dues in order to even obtain the rental license. You know, other counties are a little different as far as the requirements to obtain a rental license. In DC, I would say, just for the record, I do not practice right now in DC doing property management, but I would advise, you know, if you have a tenant and you're trying to find a way to even sell the property, you have to deal with TOPA. And I advise that you reach out to a TOPA advocacy group or some type of specialist to kind of help you with that process. And by the way, TOPA stands for Tenants Opportunity Purchase Act. It's only in DC, and it's a tedious process, and it varies, depends on the number of units that you have to go through in order to pretty much sell your own property. So that's just a few tips from landlords. Set standards when you are renting your home, and always reach out to a real estate professional like myself or a property manager for more advice is always recommended as well.
Okay. What is some of the best ways that they can reach out to you for further information on this? Because we just don't want it to stop here, but we want people to be able to, you know, give you a call or email or whatever.
Sure.
If they have information. In other words, we tell them, don't go at it alone. Get you a professional to get the work done, and you'll be glad you did.
Yeah, so again, I just wanted to let everyone know that I am here as an advocate. No matter what your situation is, you know, just reach out to me if you have any questions. We offer free consultations. I can be reached directly in my office. That number is 301-562-7070. My cell phone, 301-996-1527. You can find me on Facebook. That's Real Estate Rhonda, DMV. Rhonda is spelled with an H, RHONDA. Or you can just shoot me a quick email at realestaterhonda@gmail.com. Again, that's realestaterhonda RHONDA@gmail.com. And just give me a call. And actually today, Joe, for your listeners, I have a few more guides left, and I'm going to offer 10 guides to the first 10 people who reach out to me, needed some advice on dealing with the inherited homes and the probate process.
Now, if you are in that category, don't hesitate. Just reach out. You can't lose by getting the information that you need to find out whether you're doing things in the proper manner or not. So please reach out, make the phone calls, do the email, whatever you must do, and get the information, because a lot of people have made serious mistakes because they try to avoid this process, this little, I guess they call it little baby steps. I don't need this, I can do this on my own or whatever. And just one little thing throws them off. So
totally. We get that all the time. I actually had a gentleman that was ready to list his home just a few days ago. It was a probate, or he thought he had the right to list it, and he doesn't. He still doesn't. He still has some process to go through. So can you imagine if he didn't reach out to a realtor and he just decided to go at it alone for sale by owner? He would have been up for a rude awakening once he realized that this house was on the market and he did not have the sole right to sell it himself. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt to reach out to a professional. Again, there's no obligation here. We're here to help.
You need to know. Best information you can use, you can go ahead and put that call in now. And certainly she will get with you and talk with you more on this so that you will have a clear understanding and go at it intelligently so that you can make the best choice for getting your home. We appreciate you coming by today and talking with us concerning, educating us concerning real estate and how to properly sell a home.
Thank you for having me, Joe, and I appreciate this. And hey, maybe I can have me back again and we can talk more about home buying process.
Well, we certainly will. We certainly like to use you as a commentator. Anytime you like to come and step in as a commentator, sure.
I'll love to be back.
Yes, because this is something that's very necessary, and like we often say, we don't just entertain, but we also educate.
That's
so
right.
Certainly we will certainly have you back.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening.
All right. We'll be right back right after this.